The Galactic Coalition's great assembly chamber radiated a grandeur designed to make anyone feel insignificant. Pillars of glowing crystal spiraled upward, refracting light in a kaleidoscope of colors that danced across the faces of gathered delegates from across the galaxy. Each seat in the semicircular amphitheater was occupied by beings of incredible diversity, feathered, scaled, gelatinous, or encased in exoskeletons that shimmered under the ambient light. The air thrummed with the faint hum of holographic displays, the occasional murmurs of translators, and the heavy weight of alien judgment. Captain Zara Blackwood, her dark hair pulled into a no-nonsense braid, stood with her crew on a raised platform at the chamber's center. She fought to keep her expression neutral, but her jaw tightened at the condescending stares fixed on her team. Behind her, Maya Chen, her chief engineer, shifted on her feet, clearly unimpressed by the ostentatious display. Lieutenant Diego Martinez had his hands clasped behind his back, his mouth twitching as if trying not to smirk. Raj Khan, their navigator, stood slightly apart, his gaze sharp and suspicious as he took in the surroundings. "And now," boomed the voice of Ambassador Varak, a towering figure whose crystalline appendages glittered with every movement, "we celebrate a monumental occasion in the history of the Galactic Coalition. For the first time, humanity joins the interstellar community as a fledgling member." His words dripped with the kind of patronizing benevolence one might use on a child who had just learned to tie their shoes. Maya leaned closer to Blackwood. "Is it just me, or does this feel like a setup?" "It's not just you," Blackwood muttered without looking at her. "Today," Varak continued, "we bestow upon Earth a symbol of trust, progress, and unity, your first interstellar vessel." At this, the massive crystalline doors behind the ambassador began to grind open, sending ripples of light cascading across the chamber. Fog hissed from vents as a ship was revealed, floating in dock. It was both larger and uglier than anything the crew had imagined. The hull was an unidentifiable shade that teetered between gray and the kind of green you'd find on abandoned leftovers. Sections jutted out at odd angles, resembling a collection of mismatched parts cobbled together during a cosmic garage sale. Panels along the sides seemed to be holding on by sheer stubbornness, and the entire structure emitted a faint hum that was somewhere between ominous and sarcastic. Martinez broke the silence. "That's our ship? It looks like it's held together with duct tape and prayers." "Or curses," Maya added, her engineering instincts recoiling visibly. Varak spread his arms in what could only be described as a grandiose flourish. "Behold, the probability manipulator Mark I, the pinnacle of our technological marvels." Blackwood's lips tightened. Pinnacle wasn't the word she'd use. "This ship," Varak explained, "is equipped with a probability manipulator drive, a quantum device capable of reshaping reality itself." He paused, savoring the moment. "It will be humanity's gateway to the stars, assuming it doesn't fall apart first," Raj muttered under his breath. The ambassador's tone shifted, becoming almost theatrical. "You are the first species in the coalition to receive such an honor since the technology was deemed challenging." Maya's eyebrows shot up. "Challenging?" "Yes," Varak confirmed, as if this were somehow reassuring. "All others have been decommissioned." "Decommissioned?" Blackwood repeated, her voice laced with suspicion. "Why?" "Operational difficulties," Varak said smoothly. "But we have faith that your human ingenuity will rise to the occasion." The hangar doors slid shut, sealing in the ship's strange, forlorn energy. Blackwood forced a tight smile, the diplomatic mask she'd perfected during years of negotiations. "We're honored to receive this unique gift." "May it serve you well," Varak replied, his crystalline appendages sparkling in approval. "We look forward to hearing of your progress." As the ceremony ended, the crew was escorted to their new ship. Up close, the HMS Paperweight, Maya had already christened it in whispered sarcasm, looked even worse. The gangplank creaked ominously as they stepped aboard, and the interior didn't inspire confidence. Wiring dangled from the ceiling like vines in a jungle. Conduits hummed with irregular pulses, and the smell of singed metal permeated the air. Smells like disappointment, Martinez quipped. Smells like a fire hazard, Maya corrected, already inspecting a suspiciously smoking panel. The bridge, if it could be called that, was cramped and chaotic. The consoles displayed lines of text in an alien script that shifted and rearranged themselves as the crew approached, like it couldn't decide what language to use. The captain's chair was bolted to the floor at a slight angle, tilting just enough to be irritating. Maya yanked open a panel beneath her station. Well, here's the manual. She pulled out a data slate that promptly unfolded into a three-dimensional hologram with a Mobius strip interface. Oh, great. It's written in passive-aggressive physics. Raj leaned over her shoulder. What does this section say? Warning, operation may result in spontaneous paradox or ontological feedback. She sighed. Lovely. This thing's a joke, Raj said, crossing his arms. At that moment, a soft hum resonated through the ship. Lights flickered and the main console powered on, displaying what could only be described as an apologetic holographic shrug. Did the ship just respond to us? Martinez asked, his tone equal parts incredulous and amused. Raj scoffed. I don't believe this junker will even start. As if to prove him wrong or spite him, the engines roared to life. The ship hummed louder, almost smugly, and the lights steadied into a warm, functional glow. Maya's head snapped up. Wait, did it just power on because you didn't believe in it? It's running on skepticism? Martinez laughed. We're going to break reality with sarcasm, aren't we? Blackwood stared at the humming console, her mind racing. All right, everyone, she said, her voice cutting through the chaos. Buckle up. We've got a ship that defies logic, an engine powered by doubt, and a manual that reads like an existential crisis. Let's see what this thing can do. The HMS Paperweight groaned as if bracing itself for the improbable journey ahead. As Maya muttered about safety hazards and Martinez cracked another joke, Blackwood couldn't help but smile. It was absurd, impractical, and utterly human. And for the first time, the Galactic Coalition had no idea what they'd unleashed. The HMS Paperweight hummed with an energy that was equal parts defiance and mischief as the crew settled into their stations. The mismatched panels and blinking lights gave the ship's interior a chaotic charm, like an overambitious art project gone terribly wrong. Captain Zara Blackwood adjusted her tilted captain's chair, leaning forward to address her crew, her tone equal parts command and curiosity. All right, she said, letting her voice cut through the low mechanical thrum. We've got a ship that seems to run on bad luck and worse decisions. Maya, what's the verdict? Are we flying a miracle or a disaster waiting to happen? Maya Chen was already elbow-deep in the engineering console, her toolkit spread out across the floor like the aftermath of a techie hurricane. She pushed her glasses up her nose and glanced back at Blackwood. Honestly, both. The probability manipulator drive is unique. It doesn't follow any principles of engineering I've ever seen, or physics, or sanity. Lieutenant Diego Martinez swiveled lazily in his chair at the helm, his fingers drumming on the console. So, standard human operating procedure, then. Raj Khan leaned over his own station, scowling at the navigation readouts, which displayed what could charitably be described as a Jackson Pollock painting made of star maps. These charts make zero sense. Half the stars have question marks next to them, and some of these coordinates are labeled, probably not here. Probably not here? Blackwood echoed, her brows furrowing. That's not ideal. It gets worse, Raj continued, pointing at a flashing segment on the display. There's a section labeled, Don't Even Think About It. Maya sighed, pulling out the holographic manual again. It shimmered in midair, reshaping itself into a spiral of incomprehensible symbols. According to this thing, the ship's drive doesn't just warp space. It warps probability. If something has even the slightest chance of happening, this ship can nudge it into reality. Martinez grinned. So you're saying it makes the impossible possible? No, Maya snapped. I'm saying it makes the improbable inevitable. There's a difference. Raj crossed his arms, his skepticism as palpable as the hum of the drive beneath their feet. Great. We're flying a cosmic dice roll. Blackwood rose from her seat, her boots echoing on the metal floor as she moved toward the main console. Fine, let's test it. If this ship can bend reality, let's see if it can get us to Vega Station. It's a straight shot, and the Coalition's expecting us to check in. Straight shot, Maya muttered, already scanning the controls. On this ship? Sure, Captain. Let's aim for straight, and hope we don't end up in another dimension. Raj keyed in the coordinates with deliberate precision, muttering to himself, I don't believe this thing will even leave the dock. The ship's hum deepened, almost smugly, and with a sudden jolt, the Paperweight launched forward, its engines roaring to life. Everyone lurched in their seats as the ship tore through space at a speed that made the laws of physics throw up their hands in surrender. Did we just... Martinez started, gripping his console. Go faster than light? Maya finished, staring wide-eyed at her readouts. Yes. Yes, we did. And the drive isn't even breaking a sweat. The viewscreen displayed streaks of stars, warping into elongated lines as the ship hurtled through the void. But just as the crew began to relax, the hum shifted, and the lights flickered ominously. Captain, Raj said, his voice tinged with unease. We've got a problem. Blackwood turned sharply toward him. What kind of problem? The kind where the navigation system just decided we're taking a detour. He tapped the screen, which now displayed a flashing indicator marked Anomaly Detected. Define anomaly, Blackwood demanded. Something big and weird, Raj replied. It's directly in our path. Maya groaned, already moving to another console. This ship can't go 5 minutes without trying to rewrite reality, can it? Martinez squinted at the screen, his fingers hovering over the helm controls. Should we avoid it? Before anyone could respond, the ship made the decision for them. With a lurch, the probability drive activated again, and the Paperweight veered sharply toward the anomaly. Brace for impact! Blackwood shouted, gripping the edge of her chair as the ship hurtled into the unknown. The viewscreen filled with a swirling mass of light and shadow, a vortex of chaotic energy that defied explanation. The ship shook violently, and alarms blared across the bridge. Shields holding, Maya reported, though her tone suggested it wouldn't last long. But the anomaly's pulling us in. The drive's fighting it, but it's like trying to outstare gravity. Suggestions? Blackwood barked. Reverse engines? Raj offered. Shoot it? Martinez added. Or, Maya cut in, her voice rising over the chaos, we could lean into it. Blackwood stared at her. Explain. This drive runs on probabilities, right? Maya said, her fingers flying across her console. If we accept the pull and let the drive adapt, it might find a way to stabilize us. Or it might rip us apart, Raj pointed out. Yeah, but at least it'll be an interesting way to go, Martinez quipped, earning a glare from Blackwood. Do it, Blackwood ordered Maya. Whatever you're planning, make it happen. Maya didn't hesitate. She keyed in a series of commands, and the ship's hum deepened, its lights flickering rhythmically. The Paperweight seemed to shudder, then steadied as the vortex outside shifted. The swirling chaos became less violent, its edges smoothing out as the ship's systems synchronized with the anomaly. Drive output stabilizing, Maya announced. It's working. The viewscreen cleared, revealing an expanse of space that shimmered like liquid glass. Stars seemed to ripple and refract, their light bending in ways that defied comprehension. What is this place? Martinez asked, his voice uncharacteristically quiet. Uncharted, Raj replied, studying his readouts. I'm not even sure it's in our dimension. Blackwood rose from her seat, her gaze fixed on the shimmering expanse. Whatever it is, the Paperweight just proved it can handle more than we thought. Maya, log everything. Raj, chart a course out of here. Already on it, they replied in unison. As the ship began to navigate its way out of the anomaly, Blackwood allowed herself a small smile. The Coalition had handed them what they thought was a useless relic, a ship too unpredictable for their advanced sensibilities. But in the hands of a human crew, a crew who thrived on skepticism, adaptability, and sheer stubbornness, it was shaping up to be something else entirely. The HMS Paperweight hummed once more, ready for whatever absurdity the universe had in store. The HMS Paperweight emerged from the shimmering anomaly into normal space, or as close to normal as the galaxy ever got. The stars outside the viewport seemed brighter, clearer, as if the ship had polished the very fabric of the cosmos on its way through. The crew sat in stunned silence for a moment, processing the fact that they were still alive. "Everyone in one piece?" Captain Zara Blackwood asked, her voice steady but laced with a touch of disbelief. "I mean, physically sure," Lieutenant Diego Martinez said from the helm, shaking his head. "Mentally? I'm not so sure. We just surfed a cosmic whirlpool, and the ship treated it like a lazy river." "Systems are functional," Maya Chen reported from engineering, though her voice carried an edge of awe. "This thing didn't just survive. It thrived. The drive is running more efficiently than before. Somehow, breaking the laws of physics actually improved its performance." "Of course it did," Raj Khan muttered, his tone dry as he scanned the navigational readouts. "This ship's basically a cosmic dare." Blackwood leaned back in her tilted captain's chair, watching the stars on the view screen. "All right, crew. We've proven the Paperweight can handle a lot more than we expected. Let's see if we can actually get back on mission. Raj, plot a course to Vega Station." "Already on it," Raj replied, his fingers flying across the console. "Should be smooth sailing, as long as the ship doesn't decide to get creative again." The ship's hum shifted slightly, almost like a mischievous chuckle. Martinez glanced over his shoulder. "Did anyone else just feel like the ship's laughing at us?" "It's probably enjoying itself," Maya said, smirking as she tapped on her screen. "This thing's been dormant for who knows how long. Now it gets to show off." Blackwood sighed. "Let's hope it doesn't show off too much. We've got to prove to the Coalition we're not just competent, but invaluable. No more detours, no more surprises." The ship naturally had other plans. As they cruised through hyperspace, a series of alarms blared across the bridge, and the main console lit up with warnings in a language that defied translation. "What now?" Blackwood demanded, standing and striding to the console. "Unscheduled exit from hyperspace," Raj reported, his tone somewhere between exasperated and resigned. "We're being pulled off course." Maya's hands flew over her console as she tried to make sense of the readouts. "It's not the drive malfunctioning. This is external. Something's pulling us out." The ship shuddered, and the view screen flickered, displaying a rapidly approaching planet surrounded by a dense asteroid belt. The planet's atmosphere shimmered with a strange, iridescent glow. "Where are we?" Blackwood asked. Raj squinted at the screen. "This is Haros Fe. It's on the Coalition's list of abandoned worlds. Toxic atmosphere, unstable geology, uninhabitable." "So why are we here?" Martinez asked, his tone tight. "Good question," Maya said. "I'm picking up faint energy signatures on the surface. Something's active down there." "Active?" Blackwood raised an eyebrow. "On a planet that's supposed to be a death trap? Fantastic." The ship's engines groaned as it settled into orbit. The hum of the probability drive grew louder, more insistent, as if the ship itself were urging them onward. "Well, looks like we're not leaving until we figure this out," Blackwood said. "Maya, Raj, you're with me. Martinez, stay on the ship. Keep us ready to move in case this goes sideways." Martinez saluted with exaggerated flair. "Yes, ma'am. I'll be here, not inhaling toxic fumes." The landing shuttle was barely more than a tin can with thrusters, but it did the job, descending through Haros Fe's murky atmosphere with a steady, albeit reluctant, hum. The planet's surface came into view, a jagged landscape of crumbling cliffs and swirling mists, the ground dotted with strange, crystalline formations that glowed faintly. As they touched down, the crew donned their protective suits, the airtight seals hissing as they stepped out into the alien wasteland. The air was heavy, thick with a sulphurous tang that even the suits couldn't completely filter out. "This place feels wrong," Maya muttered, scanning the horizon with a handheld device. "The energy readings are spiking all over the place, but I can't pinpoint a source." Blackwood's boots crunched against the brittle ground as she led the way. "Let's not stick around any longer than we have to. Whatever's down here, we find it, figure it out, and get back to the ship." As they moved deeper into the desolate terrain, the faint hum of the crystals grew louder, resonating in a way that seemed to bypass their suits and vibrate in their bones. The light from the formations pulsed in rhythmic waves, casting eerie shadows that seemed to dance just out of reach. "This is unsettling," Raj said, his voice low. "It's like the planet's alive." They rounded a jagged outcrop and froze. In the center of a shallow crater stood an alien structure, its surface sleek and black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Strange symbols glowed faintly along its edges, shifting and writhing like living things. Maya stepped closer, her scanner beeping frantically. "This isn't Coalition tech. It's older, much older." "Older than the Coalition?" Blackwood asked. "That's impossible." "Impossible's just another Tuesday for us," Raj muttered. As they approached the structure, the hum from the crystals intensified, syncing with the glow of the symbols. The air around them seemed to ripple, and a low, resonant tone emanated from the structure, vibrating through the ground. "Captain," Maya said, her voice tense, "I think it's reacting to us." Blackwood studied the structure, her instincts screaming caution, even as curiosity pulled her forward. "What kind of reaction are we talking about?" Before Maya could answer, the ground beneath them shifted, and the structure began to rise, lifting itself on massive, angular supports that unfolded like the legs of some alien colossus. The glow from the symbols intensified, and the hum became a deep, resonant thrum that seemed to pulse in time with their heartbeats. "This is bad," Raj said, taking a step back. "Thanks for the update," Blackwood snapped. "Maya, any ideas?" Maya's fingers flew over her scanner. It's drawing energy from the crystals. They're like a power grid, and it's waking up the whole system." The structure loomed over them now, a towering obelisk that radiated an almost palpable sense of intent. The air around it crackled with energy, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. "Whatever this is," Blackwood said, her voice steely, "it's not just some ancient ruin. It's alive, and it's watching us." The towering alien structure pulsed with a rhythm that felt disturbingly alive. Its sheer presence commanded attention, as if the very planet held its breath in anticipation. Captain Zara Blackwood, Maya Chen, and Raj Khan stood frozen at the base of the monolith, the thrum of its energy vibrating through the ground beneath their boots. Blackwood's voice was steady, though her eyes darted toward the glowing symbols. "Maya, can you tell me what this thing is trying to do?" Maya's scanner was practically having a meltdown, its screen a kaleidoscope of gibberish. "It's rewriting itself. The symbols, they're like code, constantly updating. It's a self-repairing system, but it's not just repairing. It's growing." Raj took a cautious step back, the crunch of the brittle ground sounding far too loud. "Growing? Growing into what? Something friendly, I hope." Blackwood didn't reply. Her focus was locked on the monolith as its glowing runes began to coalesce, forming intricate patterns that rippled up its surface. With a deep, resonant hum, a section of the structure unfolded, revealing a smooth, obsidian-like surface that shimmered with a faint, multicolored sheen. "It's opening," Blackwood said, her voice low. She reached for the comm on her suit. "Martinez, do you have eyes on this? The ship's sensors should be going crazy." "Crazy doesn't begin to cover it, Captain," Martinez's voice crackled through the channel. "The Paperweight's readings are off the charts. Whatever that thing is, it's emitting energy signatures we've never seen before. You might want to reconsider standing next to it." "I'm open to suggestions," Blackwood muttered, watching as the shimmering surface began to ripple like liquid glass. Maya's scanner beeped erratically. "Captain, the energy output is spiking. If this thing keeps ramping up, it could destabilize the entire area, or worse." The shimmering surface bulged outward, and with a sound like a distant thunderclap, it split apart. A sphere of radiant light hovered within, its glow so intense it cast jagged shadows across the landscape. The light pulsed in time with the resonating hum, and a deep, resonant voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere at once. "You are unrecognized. State your purpose." Raj blinked. Did it just talk? Blackwood stepped forward, her hand hovering near the holstered weapon on her suit. "We're explorers. We're not here to harm you." The light pulsed, and the hum deepened. "Explorers? Your kind has not been observed for millennia, yet you awaken what should not be disturbed." "Not exactly our idea," Raj muttered, earning a sharp look from Blackwood. Maya glanced at her scanner. "Captain, I think this thing's connected to the planet's entire energy grid. If it keeps drawing power, it could trigger, well, I'm not sure what, but it won't be good." "Fantastic," Blackwood said under her breath. "Listen," she said to the monolith, her voice firm. "We didn't mean to disturb anything. If you can tell us how to shut this down, we'll leave you in peace." The sphere of light dimmed, and the voice grew quieter, almost contemplative. Peace. An unfamiliar concept in this time. You carry chaos within you, yet you seek understanding. Curious. The ground beneath them trembled, and the light began to twist, forming shapes, images that danced across the shimmering surface of the monolith. Scenes of destruction and conflict played out. Ancient battles fought with weapons that defied comprehension, civilizations crumbling under their own ambition. And finally, the monolith itself being buried beneath the planet's surface, forgotten and abandoned. "What are we looking at?" Raj asked, his voice hushed. Maya frowned at the display. "It's history. This thing, it's showing us what happened here. The civilization that built it, they destroyed themselves." The images shifted, showing the monolith's creators. Tall, elegant beings with translucent skin and glowing eyes. They worked with precision and grace, their technology weaving together strands of light and energy. But as the scenes progressed, their expressions turned desperate, their movements frantic. Their final act was to seal the monolith, burying it beneath the ground in a last-ditch effort to contain its power. Blackwood watched in silence, her jaw tight. They couldn't control it. The voice returned, softer now. The architects of this world sought to harness the fabric of possibility. They were undone by their own ambition. "Sounds familiar," Raj muttered. "History repeats itself." The towering alien structure pulsed with a rhythm that felt disturbingly alive. Its sheer presence commanded attention, as if the very planet held its breath in anticipation. Captain Zara Blackwood, Maya Chen, and Raj Khan stood frozen at the base of the monolith, the thrum of its energy vibrating through the ground beneath their boots. Blackwood's voice was steady, though her eyes darted toward the glowing symbols. "Maya, can you tell me what this thing is trying to do?" Maya's scanner was practically having a meltdown, its screen a kaleidoscope of gibberish. "It's rewriting itself. The symbols, they're like code, constantly updating. It's a self-repairing system, but it's not just repairing. It's growing." Raj took a cautious step back, the crunch of the brittle ground sounding far too loud. "Growing? Growing into what? Something friendly, I hope." Blackwood didn't reply. Her focus was locked on the monolith as its glowing runes began to coalesce, forming intricate patterns that rippled up its surface. With a deep, resonant hum, a section of the structure unfolded, revealing a smooth, obsidian-like surface that shimmered with a faint, multicolored sheen. "It's opening," Blackwood said, her voice low. She reached for the comm on her suit. "Martinez, do you have eyes on this? The ship's sensors should be going crazy." "Crazy doesn't begin to cover it, Captain," Martinez's voice crackled through the channel. "The Paperweight's readings are off the charts. Whatever that thing is, it's emitting energy signatures we've never seen before. You might want to reconsider standing next to it." "I'm open to suggestions," Blackwood muttered, watching as the shimmering surface began to ripple like liquid glass. Maya's scanner beeped erratically. "Captain, the energy output is spiking. If this thing keeps ramping up, it could destabilize the entire area, or worse." The shimmering surface bulged outward, and with a sound like a distant thunderclap, it split apart. A sphere of radiant light hovered within, its glow so intense it cast jagged shadows across the landscape. The light pulsed in time with the resonating hum, and a deep, resonant voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere at once. "You are unrecognized. State your purpose. Raj blinked. Did it just talk? Blackwood stepped forward, her hand hovering near the holstered weapon on her suit. We're explorers. We're not here to harm you. The light pulsed, and the hum deepened. Explorers? Your kind has not been observed for millennia, yet you awaken what should not be disturbed. Not exactly our idea, Raj muttered, earning a sharp look from Blackwood. Maya glanced at her scanner. Captain, I think this thing's connected to the planet's entire energy grid. If it keeps drawing power, it could trigger, well, I'm not sure what, but it won't be good. Fantastic, Blackwood said under her breath. Listen, she said to the monolith, her voice firm. We didn't mean to disturb anything. If you can tell us how to shut this down, we'll leave you in peace. The sphere of light dimmed, and the voice grew quieter, almost contemplative. Peace. An unfamiliar concept in this time. You carry chaos within you, yet you seek understanding. Curious. The ground beneath them trembled, and the light began to twist, forming shapes, images that danced across the shimmering surface of the monolith. Scenes of destruction and conflict played out. Ancient battles fought with weapons that defied comprehension, civilizations crumbling under their own ambition. And finally, the monolith itself being buried beneath the planet's surface, forgotten and abandoned. What are we looking at? Raj asked, his voice hushed. Maya frowned at the display. It's history. This thing, it's showing us what happened here. The civilization that built it, they destroyed themselves. The images shifted, showing the monolith's creators, tall, elegant beings with translucent skin and glowing eyes. They worked with precision and grace, their technology weaving together strands of light and energy. But as the scenes progressed, their expressions turned desperate, their movements frantic. Their final act was to seal the monolith, burying it beneath the ground in a last-ditch effort to contain its power. Blackwood watched in silence, her jaw tight. They couldn't control it. The voice returned, softer now. The architects of this world sought to harness the fabric of possibility. They were undone by their own ambition. Sounds familiar, Raj muttered. History repeats itself. The ship's sensors lit up, projecting an image of the incoming vessels onto the main screen. The alien ships were sleek and angular, their hulls shimmering with a metallic sheen that seemed to bend light around them. They were clearly advanced, far beyond the technology of any known civilization in the galaxy. One of the ships transmitted a message, the alien script translating on screen into a single chilling sentence. Surrender or be annihilated. Charming, Martinez quipped. They didn't even say please. Blackwood stood tall, her eyes locked on the screen. Open a channel. The ship's AI complied, and Blackwood addressed their unseen adversaries. This is Captain Zara Blackwood of the HMS Paperweight. We're here on a mission of exploration, not conflict. State your intentions. The response was immediate, the alien voice cold and resonant. You have awakened what was meant to remain dormant. The monolith's power is forbidden. Your existence here is a violation. Maya's voice cut in, alarmed. Captain, their weapons are powering up. Whatever they're packing, it makes our tech look like slingshots. Blackwood's mind raced. They were hopelessly outgunned. But if there was one thing the crew of the Paperweight had learned, it was that improbability was their greatest weapon. Martinez, she said sharply, get us into the upper atmosphere. Maya, I want every improbable feature this ship has activated. Raj, prepare for evasive maneuvers. On it, Martinez replied, his hands flying over the controls. The Paperweight surged forward, its engines roaring as it climbed into the sky. The alien ships gave chase, their sleek forms cutting through the atmosphere like knives. Maya was already at work in engineering, her voice echoing over the comms. Captain, I've activated the improbability field, but this is going to get weird, fast. As if on cue, the Paperweight's systems began to hum with a strange energy. Panels glowed with flickering light, and the ship's holographic AI shifted into the form of a medieval knight, complete with armor and a glowing sword. Shall we charge into the fray, my liege? It asked cheerfully. Just keep us in one piece, Blackwood snapped. The first alien ship fired, its energy weapon cutting through the atmosphere with terrifying precision. The blast should have vaporized the paperweight, but instead it curved midair, deflecting harmlessly into the void. Did we just dodge physics? Raj asked, his tone both incredulous and impressed. Maya's voice crackled through the comms. That's the improbability field working. It's making us less likely to be hit. Less likely, Raj repeated. That's not exactly comforting. The alien ships adjusted their tactics, flanking the paperweight and unleashing a barrage of coordinated attacks. The ship shuddered under the onslaught, its systems flickering as the improbability field strained against the overwhelming odds. Captain, the AI warned, the improbability core is nearing its threshold. If we don't stabilize it, we risk catastrophic collapse. Blackwood gripped the edge of her console, her mind racing for a solution. They needed to turn the tide, and fast. Maya, she said, can we overcharge the core? Push it past its limits? Are you insane? Maya shot back. That could tear us apart. It's either that or let them do it for us, Blackwood countered. We've come this far by defying the odds. Let's see if we can rewrite them. Maya hesitated for only a moment before responding. Okay, but if we survive this, you owe me a month's worth of coffee. Deal, Blackwood said. Do it. Maya initiated the overcharge, and the ship's systems surged with a blinding light. The improbability field expanded, enveloping the alien ships and twisting the very fabric of reality around them. On the main screen, the alien vessels began to distort, their sleek forms warping and flickering as if caught in a storm of contradictions. One ship vanished entirely, while another transformed into a harmless cloud of glittering particles. The third ship, its systems failing, retreated into the void, disappearing into hyperspace. The paperweight's lights dimmed, the improbability core stabilizing with a low hum. The crew sat in stunned silence, the reality of their survival sinking in. Captain, the AI said, its tone awed, you've successfully repelled an enemy force using pure improbability. The monolith's creators would be intrigued. Blackwood allowed herself a small smile. Let them be intrigued. We're still here, and that's what matters. The ship's comms crackled with a new transmission. This time it was a coalition envoy, their voice filled with a mixture of relief and disbelief. HMS Paperweight, this is Coalition Command. We've been monitoring your situation. Your actions have been unconventional, but effective. Humanity's ingenuity never ceases to amaze. Blackwood exchanged a glance with her crew, their exhaustion tempered by a shared sense of triumph. Unconventional is what we do best, she replied. Let's get this ship home. As the paperweight charted its course back to Coalition space, the crew reflected on what they had accomplished. They had faced the impossible, and won, not through brute force, but by embracing the very thing that made humanity unique, the refusal to accept limits. Blackwood stood at the observation deck, watching the stars streak past. The monolith's trial was only the beginning. The galaxy had underestimated humanity before. They wouldn't make that mistake again.